Out in the silent velvet blackness of space, a magnificent vessel travels. It is called the Avalon, a starship of immense size and ambition. Imagine a city, gleaming and self-sufficient, hurtling through the cosmos. Its mission is one of hope and new beginnings. It carries over 5,000 souls, all tucked away in a deep, dreamless sleep. They are pioneers bound for a distant planet named Homestead 2, a new Earth waiting to be settled. This journey is a long one, spanning 120 years. The passengers and crew are meant to sleep through it all, kept safe and sound in their hibernation pods, only to awaken just a few months before they arrive at their new home, ready to start their new lives. It is a remarkable feat of human ingenuity, a testament to our enduring desire to explore and to build. But space, for all its beauty, is a place of unpredictable power. One day, as the Avalon glides through a dense asteroid field, a collision occurs. A particularly large space rock, a silent wanderer of the void, strikes the ship. Alarms, unheard by the sleeping passengers, would have blared for a moment before automated systems took over. Most of the damage is managed, but one small critical failure goes unnoticed. A single hibernation pod, one among thousands, suffers a catastrophic malfunction. Its delicate mechanisms are broken. The carefully controlled sleep it was designed to maintain is shattered. The intricate dance of stasis and preservation comes to an abrupt and premature end for its occupant. Inside this pod lies a man named Jim Preston. He is a mechanic, a practical man who dreams of building things on a new world. But his dream is about to take a very different turn. The pod's systems, now broken, begin the wake-up sequence. Lights flicker, fluids drain, and gentle stimulants are administered. For Jim, it is as if the long journey is over. He expects to see the bustling corridors of a ship ready for arrival, to meet his fellow travelers, and to gaze upon his new planetary home. He is 90 years too early. He has woken up, but he is utterly and completely alone. A single conscious mind in a city of sleepers, adrift in an endless ocean of stars. The pod door hisses open, and Jim steps out, stretching his limbs after what he believes was a century-long nap. He looks around, expecting celebration and activity. Instead, he finds only silence. The vast halls of the Avalon are empty, the lights are dimmed, and a profound stillness hangs in the air. He calls out, but only the echo of his own voice answers. The ship's computer informs him of the terrible truth. The year is not what it should be. The journey has only just begun. The promise of Homestead 2 is still 90 years away, a lifetime beyond his reach. He is a castaway, not on a desert island, but on a technologically advanced vessel that has become his solitary prison. In the days and weeks that follow, Jim explores his new home. The Avalon is a marvel of engineering, a floating paradise designed to entertain and comfort its passengers upon their scheduled awakening. It has luxurious suites, cinemas, swimming pools, and even a grand observation deck offering breathtaking views of the cosmos. Yet for Jim, these wonders are hollow. They are reminders of a life he was meant to share, a community he cannot join. He plays basketball by himself in a vast, empty court. He dines alone in a magnificent restaurant, served by robotic waiters who cannot offer conversation or companionship. The sheer scale of his solitude is immense, a psychological weight as heavy as any planet's gravity. His only companion is a robotic bartender named Arthur. Arthur is an android, programmed with impeccable manners and a vast knowledge of drinks, but with no true understanding of human emotion. He listens patiently to Jim's troubles, polishing a glass with a steady, unthinking rhythm. He offers programmed words of comfort, but they lack the warmth of genuine empathy. Jim confides in Arthur, sharing his fears, his anger, and his crushing loneliness. This one-sided friendship provides a sliver of normality in his bizarre existence, a routine to cling to in the face of unending emptiness. But an android, however sophisticated, cannot replace the vital connection of another human being. The loneliness begins to take its toll. Jim's hope starts to fade, replaced by a growing despair. The endless, silent days stretch into a year. He grows a beard, his clothes become disheveled, and the magnificent ship starts to feel less like a palace and more like a gilded cage. He contemplates the unthinkable, standing at the edge of an airlock, gazing into the unforgiving void. The beauty of the nebulae and distant galaxies no longer inspires awe, but a profound sense of isolation. He is a ghost haunting the corridors of his own future, a man out of time, with no past to return to and no future to hope for. It is during this period of deep despair that he sees her. Her name is Aurora Lane, a writer from New York. She lies peacefully in her hibernation pod, a serene expression on her face. Jim looks up her profile on the ship's database. He watches her video application, where she speaks with passion about her desire to travel to Homestead 2, write her story, and then return to Earth. He finds himself captivated by her spirit, her intelligence, and her dreams. In her, he sees everything he has lost: connection, purpose, and a future. A terrible, selfish idea begins to form in his mind, a choice that could end his loneliness, but destroy her life. The internal conflict rages within Jim. He knows that waking Aurora would be a monstrously selfish act. He would be stealing her future, her dream, her entire life, just to save himself from solitude. He wrestles with his conscience, trying to resist the overwhelming temptation. He spends his days near her pod, talking to her as if she could hear him, sharing his thoughts and his torment. The loneliness is a physical ache, a constant presence that erodes his better judgment. He tries to fix his own pod, to find any other solution, but his efforts are fruitless. The technology is too complex, the damage too severe. He is trapped, and the thought of spending the rest of his life alone is a fate he can no longer bear. Ultimately, his desperation wins. With a heavy heart and trembling hands, he manually overrides Aurora's hibernation pod. He wakes her up, condemning her to the same fate as his own. When Aurora emerges, she is, like Jim before her, confused, and then horrified to learn the truth of their situation. Jim, however, hides his role in her awakening. He allows her to believe that her pod malfunctioned just as his did, a one-in-a-million coincidence. He presents himself as her fellow castaway, her only ally in this strange and isolated world. He feels a profound guilt, a secret that sits like a stone in his stomach, but his relief at having another person to talk to is palpable. At first, Aurora is devastated. She grieves for the life she has lost, the future that has been stolen from her. She rages against the unfairness of it all, her dreams of being the first interstellar journalist shattered. But slowly, with Jim's gentle support, she begins to adapt. He shows her the wonders of the Avalon, the things that had brought him fleeting moments of joy. They go on dates in the fine dining restaurant, watch movies in the empty cinema, and go for spacewalks tethered to the ship, floating together amongst the stars. A bond begins to form between them, born from their shared, extraordinary circumstances. They are the only two people awake in a radius of trillions of miles. Their connection deepens into love. They find comfort and happiness in one another's company, transforming the empty starship into their own private world. They build a life together, creating new routines and shared memories. Aurora begins writing again, chronicling their unique existence. Jim uses his mechanical skills to make their living space more comfortable. For a time, it seems they have found a strange kind of paradise. The guilt still gnaws at Jim, but the joy of their shared life pushes it deeper into the shadows. Their loneliness has been replaced by a profound and loving companionship, a small flame of warmth in the cold, endless night of space. This fragile peace is not destined to last. The Avalon, their sanctuary and their prison, is beginning to show signs of a deeper sickness. It starts with small, seemingly random glitches. A cleaning bot will suddenly go haywire, or lights in a corridor will flicker and die. At first, they dismiss these as minor annoyances, just the inevitable quirks of a complex machine on a long journey. But the incidents become more frequent, and honestly, more serious. The robotic waiters in the dining hall begin to malfunction, and gravity fluctuations cause them to stumble unexpectedly. So, a sense of unease begins to creep into their idyllic existence. The ship's automated systems start to fail one by one. Diagnostic alerts, previously unseen, start flashing across control panels. They are cryptic and numerous, pointing to cascading failures throughout the vessel. Jim, with his mechanic's intuition, realizes that these are not isolated events. They are symptoms of a much larger, systemic problem. The asteroid collision 2 years prior did more than just damage his pod. It inflicted a series of deep, hidden wounds to the ship's core systems. The Avalon is slowly dying around them, and the automated repair functions are failing to keep up. The ship that was meant to be their home is becoming a threat. The danger becomes undeniable when the ship's chief deck officer, Gus Mancuso, is forcibly woken from his hibernation pod. His pod, like Jim's, has suffered a critical failure, but for a different reason. The ship's failing systems have triggered the malfunction. Gus is a man of authority and experience, and he immediately understands the gravity of the situation. He brings a new urgency to their predicament. Using his high-level access codes, he runs a full ship-wide diagnostic, and the results are terrifying. Countless critical systems are failing, and a catastrophic failure is imminent. The ship is on a collision course with total disaster. Gus's presence is both a blessing and a curse. He provides the knowledge and access they need to understand the threat, but his own body is failing. The aggressive, system-wide malfunctions that triggered his awakening have caused irreversible damage to his health. He knows he does not have long. With what little time he has left, he guides Jim and Aurora, teaching them about the ship's complex inner workings. He explains that the fusion reactor, the very heart of the Avalon, is critically damaged and on the verge of a meltdown that would destroy the entire ship, killing everyone on board. Their small community of two has become a trio, united against a ticking clock. The truth of Jim's deception is finally revealed. Arthur the android, in a moment of innocent conversation, tells Aurora that Jim had spoken of her often before she accidentally woke up. The revelation is devastating. Aurora is consumed by fury and a sense of profound betrayal. The love and trust she had built with Jim instantly crumbles, replaced by hatred. She viciously attacks him, her grief and rage pouring out. The fragile world they had built together is shattered. She shuns him completely, leaving Jim once again isolated. But this time his loneliness is compounded by the crushing weight of his guilt and her palpable anger. The ship is failing, and now so has their relationship. Despite the personal turmoil, the ship's condition worsens dramatically. Alarms begin to blare across the empty decks. Gravity fails intermittently, sending them floating helplessly through the corridors. Gus, growing weaker by the hour, uses his last reserves of strength to lead them to the ship's engineering sections. He explains that the main reactor is overheating. A critical vent for the reactor has failed to open, causing a runaway heat buildup. If they cannot manually vent the plasma, the reactor will explode, vaporizing the Avalon and all 5,000 souls aboard. Before he can help further, Gus collapses and dies, leaving Jim and Aurora to face the apocalypse alone. Faced with certain death, Aurora must make a choice. She cannot save the ship without Jim, and she cannot let her personal feelings condemn everyone to oblivion. She puts her anger aside, and the two form a tense, professional alliance. They work together, following Gus's final instructions. They discover that the exterior vent hatch is jammed. The only way to open it is from the outside, a perilous spacewalk into the fiery plasma exhaust stream. It is a suicide mission. Jim, seeing it as the only way to atone for his actions, volunteers to go. He dons a spacesuit, knowing he will likely not survive the intense heat and radiation. The climax is a breathtaking and terrifying sequence of events. Jim is outside, battling the malfunctioning hatch, while Aurora is inside at the control terminal, guiding him and preparing to operate the vent controls. The heat is immense, and Jim's suit begins to fail. He manages to pry the hatch open just as Aurora initiates the venting sequence. A colossal river of fire erupts from the ship. The force of the blast snaps Jim's tether and throws him into space, his suit critically damaged. He is lost to the void. Aurora, horrified, refuses to accept his sacrifice. In a desperate act of courage, she dashes outside in another suit and, using Gus's override codes, manages to retrieve Jim's seemingly lifeless body from the brink of space. Aurora manages to drag Jim's body back inside the ship and to the autodock, the vessel's advanced automated medical bay. He is unresponsive, having suffered from explosive decompression and severe burns. The autodock's initial diagnosis is grim, declaring him deceased. But Aurora, refusing to give up, uses Gus's high-level command access to override the machine's protocols. She forces it to perform a battery of life-saving procedures, a desperate gamble against impossible odds. Miraculously, her efforts, combined with the autodock's capabilities, succeed. Jim is brought back from the brink of death, his life a testament to her forgiveness and bravery. Their shared trauma has forged a new, stronger bond between them, one built not on a lie, but on mutual sacrifice and a truly shared destiny. With the immediate danger averted, a new possibility emerges. Jim discovers that the autodock is advanced enough to function as a temporary hibernation pod. It has the capacity to put one of them back to sleep for the remainder of the journey. He offers this chance to Aurora, a final act of redemption. He is willing to face the rest of his life alone so that she can have hers. She could still reach Homestead 2, still write her story, and live the life she had always dreamed of. It is a moment of profound choice. She could leave this man, this ship, and this strange life behind. The future she always wanted is within her grasp once more. Aurora stands before the autodock, the promise of her old life just a button press away. But she looks at Jim and at the vast, star-filled universe through the observation window, and she makes a different choice. She realizes that the life she has here with Jim is the story she truly wants to live. She chooses to stay. Together, they decide to build their own world aboard the Avalon. They are no longer just passengers, they are pioneers of a different kind. Using the ship's resources and Jim's mechanical ingenuity, they create a home. They plant a garden in the Grand Concourse, bringing life and nature into the sterile environment of the ship. They make the Avalon truly their own. 88 years later, the Avalon finally arrives at its destination, Homestead 2. The crew awakens from their long slumber to a sight they could never have imagined. The ship's Grand Concourse, once a sterile, empty space, has been transformed. It is a lush, vibrant forest filled with trees, climbing vines, and birdsong from creatures they brought to life. In the center stands a small, beautiful house that Jim and Aurora built. They lived a full and happy life together and left behind a legacy. They did not reach the new world as planned, but they created a new Eden in the stars, a testament to human resilience, love, and the incredible ability to build a home wherever you find yourself, together.